So good evening, friends. So that's the logo for our GICS. So the tagline that we have is scientific quotient emerging infinite. So as most of you are aware, friends, I think the whole focus of our conferences that we do in this region, the emphasis will be on a very robust scientific content. And there would be absolutely no compromise on the scientific content that we would be delivering and even the workshop content. So we would be terribly serious about the whole scientific aspect, and maybe a little underemphasis on the bells and whistles. So I think nowadays, I'm sure many of you are seeing there's a lot of emphasis on bells and whistles in the conference, but we have always believed it is the scientific spirit that should take progression as to way how we do the conferences. So that's why we put the tagline as scientific quotient emerging infinite. So please note down the dates. So these are the dates that we had earmarked. And as I said, this is not something new. We have been talking about GICS since last 2 years. So the thought process behind GICS is it's a Pravasi Bharat Divas in intensive care. So basically, we tend to reach out to all our Indian diaspora in intensive care who have made it big in our Western countries like Australia, UK, USA, and we would have them on our platform and collaborate with them with our scientific community here so that we can look at how meaningful we can generate good discussion that is that would influence the practices here. So that is the sort of a thought process. So before we used to call it a south zone, but now we have grown beyond south, so we thought the GICS is the right word where we would reach out to our good friends and our Indian diaspora globally. So the dates are 14th and 15th will be the pre-conference workshops, and 16th to 18th are the main conference dates. So we have already circulated this brochure on calling for all the abstracts. So this would be a conference where we would really encourage all our doctor friends, colleagues, and trainees to submit their abstracts for the research purpose. So there would be a dedicated hall for only deliberating on these scientific presentations, the abstracts bit, I'm telling, the research presentations. So we have envisaged having 2.5 to 3 hours every day in a separate hall where there will be an abstract presentation of a valuable research any of our doctor friends, colleagues, or trainees would have done. And there would be distinguished judges that would be identified. And Dr. Justin, who is here, he'll be in charge of this whole research sort of a presentations that are going to happen. So for all our trade friends, so I would encourage any doctors you are connected to, please encourage them to present their valuable research work. I'm sure many of you would be collaborating with some of the doctors to do certain research. So this would be an ideal platform, and we would be giving a separate platform. So very seldom would you see in a conference a separate platform is given for them to present their research. And we'll try and accommodate for most of them to give a podium presentation. But if it is a case series or case reports, then obviously we would give them a poster presentation. So this is about the abstract. So we basically have, sorry, I put as 10, it is 11 workshops. So we have 11 workshops. So for all our trade friends, so the way we thought is very often when you come forward to collaborate with us as a sponsor, so you would be automatically be a part of the main conference sponsor and the workshop. So there are 11 workshops which you can choose where your presence would help you leverage your business potential. And we would leave it to you, but you will be automatically be part of the workshop. So the 2 days, 14th and 15th, the workshop will be happening. It will be happening across 11 hospitals in Bangalore. The reason is we have found that it is extremely easy to do the workshops in the hospital-based setting. And that is the real time or the real world sort of a experience that a doctor should have. And this is something which would be very easy for even the workshop coordinators to execute. And even you could relate to the patients if needs be in a place where these workshops are being done. So basics is the basics of intensive care science. So this will be done in Kempegoda Institute. And Dr. Varun is here. So he's the workshop director of this. So this will be a 2-day workshop. And as you see, so the basics just for all our industry friends, it is like you might have heard of certain courses when a trainee gets into the intensive care formal program, he needs to have some sort of an induction on the basic sort of a TNETs of intensive care. So we would be touching about the basic nuances that a trainee is expected to know when he is into advanced training. And this will be for 2 days. And these are the lectures and these are the stations. So it is very, very valuable for anyone who is entering into intensive care training, be it IDCCM, IFCCM, FNB, DNB, or DM. Okay, so these are the details of the session. I will send you all this presentation in your WhatsApp for all our industry friends. So you can just go through this. So the second one is the nursing workshop. So the nursing workshop will be in Satya Sai Hospital. So Dr. Chalam, who's the head of ICU there, he'll be overseeing this. And this is a place where they have been doing regularly every year. Nursing workshop, they do it. And as a token of service, and they have always kept this workshop free, even for this GICS nursing workshop. So Dr. Chalam has kindly sort of endorsed that keeping the spirit of Satya Sai, they would be doing it free of cost. But obviously the registrations would be limited to 90. I hear already quite a few are taken. So this will be a free workshop, but it would be limited to 90 on whoever first come, first serve sort of a thing. So many of our nurses also are getting registered. So this would be happening in Satya Sai Hospital. So that would be the content of the nursing workshop. The third one is hemodynamic workshop. I'm sure many of you present here would possibly know that Narayana Hridayalaya is at the forefront of doing hemodynamic workshop every year pre-COVID. And it does stand as one of the epic center for doing good hemodynamic workshops. So keeping that in mind, so they host the workshop, and the course directors for that would, so the whole workshop director is Dr. Kanchi Murlidhar. So I don't know if he's here. He was possibly he'll join us. So Dr. Murlidhar will be the whole workshop director for all the workshops. So he'll be overseeing this along with Shiv Prasad and Ratan Gupta. So these are the contents of the flow of the workshop for hemodynamic. So they do a really advanced sort of a good because they've been doing it almost every year since many years. So many people would be looking forward for this workshop. So any of the equipment, if any of you are present here, just take a look. Anyway, I'll send this as a PDF to all of you. So the fourth workshop is the airway management on the difficult airway management workshop. So this is happening in Rajarajeshwari Medical College Hospital. So the course director is Dr. Rangalakshmi. So this will be a one-day workshop. So that would be the content of this. So there are 4 workshops which are one day. So airway, you cannot obviously deliberate for 2 days. So they're not that much of topic. So this would be a one-day topic in Rajarajeshwari Hospital. So the fifth one is the ultrasound echo workshop, so which is the most popular in possibly most of the workshops that we do. So the course directors are Sunil, Rajesh Shetty, and Ajit, and Justin is the coordinator. So this will be happening in Manipal Hospital, Old Airport Road. So as you see, most of the key hospitals where intensive care training happens are involved in these workshops. So this is the flow of the workshop for ultrasound echo workstation. So these are all standard run-of-the-mill sort of a flow that one would expect in any of these workshops. But many of you are aware that Manipal is at forefront of doing this ultrasound echo quite regularly over a few years. So I'm sure many students look up towards these workshops in Manipal. So that's the second day of the ultrasound and the echo workshop. So the sixth workshop, this is new. So we rolled out this sepsis stewardship workshop in Mysore South Zone. So we wish to continue this. So Dr. Harish will be the workshop director for this. So this will possibly happen in API Bhavan only because you don't need a hospital-based setting to do this sepsis stewardship. So it will be a one-day sort of a workshop. It will happen on 15. So that's the content of this sepsis stewardship. So every workshop, as the name suggests, there will be didactic lectures followed by the workstations where certain practical nuances will be deliberated, right? So that's the seventh one. So this is something which we take pride. In fact, when we organized the national conference in 2015, we were the first ones who organized the organ donation workshop as a part of the national conference. And even before that, I would say in India, we were the first one. We organized KODAP, Karnataka Organ Donor Awareness Program. Because as you know, this region is always at the forefront of organ donation. And many of you would be aware, Chinnadurai is extremely passionate about organ donation. So this will be happening in Aster CMI Hospital. And the program directors, as you see, this will be a 2-day workshop. Last time it was a 1 day. So this time it will be a 2-day workshop. So Dr. Chinnadurai, Rajiv Lochan is a liver transplant surgeon, and Gibson, they are the coordinators. So this is the content of the organ donation workshop on day 1 and day 2. So the 8th workshop, which is a one-day workshop. So sepsis is a one-day workshop. Sepsis stewardship, airway is a one-day workshop, and bronchoscopy in the ICU. So this is something new for intensivists. So I'm sure many of our trainees would be fairly enthusiastic about attending this, because not many intensivists are trained in bronchoscopy. And Dr. Ravi Mehta, I'm sure many of you are aware. So he's a pioneer in doing good bronchoscopy work in our city. So he will be the course director, and this will be happening in Apollo hospitals, and it's a one-day workshop. So this is the flow and content of the bronchoscopy workshop. So the 9th workshop, nutrition. So nutrition is something that it's always part of our any intensive care meet. So this will be happening at our hospital, Manipal Hospital, Yeshwanthpur. And as you see, Krishnan Shriram is a world authority in nutrition. And M.N. Shivkumar is from Coimbatore. So he takes a lot of passion in nutrition, and Karthik Rao, my colleague. So they'll be the coordinators and directors. And that is the content of our nutrition workshop. So that's the 9th one. So the 10th one, I haven't got the final confirmation on the content of this, but this will be happening in MS Ramaya Medical College. So Dr. Deepak, who is the main intensivist there, he's happy to run this workshop. So this also will be a one-day workshop, and this is the flow of the workshop in Ramaya. So this content may get changed. So he said he will get back, he'll finalize the content in maybe a day or two. So that's the 10th workshop. So the 11th workshop is obstetrics in critical care. And I'm sure, I don't know if Dr. Prakash Mehta is here. He's one of the pioneers of obstetric critical care. He does a lot in every obstetric national conference. He does the obstetric critical care workshop. And he is part of Jain Hospital. So Dr. Prakash Mehta and Dr. Farooq will be overseeing this obstetric critical care workshop. And so this is the flow. This also is a one-day workshop. So these are the 11 workshops that we are having in this conference, and 11 is a very good number. And as you see, every workshop is exciting, and every workshop will add an immense value to our trainee pool. And there is a lot to take home for any trainee who would attend this workshop. And more than that, since it's a industry friends meet, so I'm sure many of you would have an area of interest in many of these workshops. So it is good you go through the content of the workshop and see where your presence may get you more traction for your interests. So I'll send the PDF of this to all your WhatsApps, so you can go through this. So this is about workshops, so we can discuss if you have any doubts after I finish this. So regarding the scientific session, so the 14th and 15th are the workshops. So 16th, 17th, 18th are the scientific content. So this is obviously very important for all of our industry friends. So this is just a layout, how it will look. So it will be a single hall. So I'm sure many of you would agree with me. We have parallel halls. It really dilutes the scientific content, and the due justice is not done for the delegate as well and for the speaker as well, because many of the sessions you would see the attendance is going to be extremely thin, which we have witnessed in the recent past. So I think now the challenge for all of us is to get a good footfall, and everyone has sort of a opportunity to attend every talk. I think that is the quintessence of today's scientific deliberation. So I'll just give you a brief. So we will have multiple sessions that will be running. As you see, session 1, session 2, session 3. And every session will have 5 talks. I will show you the next slide. It will become a little more clearer. And in that 5 talk, 1 talk we have reserved to industry in every session, which means to say we have total over 3 days. We have envisaged having 100 talks, okay, over 3 days. And in that 100 talks, industry would possibly get 20 industry talks. So this is our current understanding of this layout. There may be plus or minus few talks, but that is the current understanding. So as you see, this is every session. There'll be 5 talks. So topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, and one of them will be the industry talk in this. And every talk is only 12 minutes. And then there will be a discussion at the end of it, which will constitute around 17 minutes of discussion at the end of every session. So just to give you a brief, so there will be 6 sessions on day 1, 7 sessions on day 2 and day 3. So each session will have 5 talks, and there will be 1 industry talk in these sessions, which means 20 talks are reserved for industry, and there will be 12 minutes for each of these talks. So all talks will be uniform. So just for your understanding, there will be 20 which will be assigned to industry, but it won't be marked as industry. It will run as a sessions. When I say sessions, sessions run as per the theme. It may be respiratory, cardiovascular, hemodynamic, sepsis, so on and so forth. So discussion will be for 17 minutes, and as I said, 20 talks will be there for industry. So that is about the scientific. So our scientific, the whole content is almost ready. So Dr. Bhuvana and Dr. Amarja, I don't think they're here. They're from St. John's. Bhuvana is the head of ICU at St. John's. So she'll be the scientific chair, and Amarja will be the co-chair for this session, for the whole scientific session. So the whole scientific content, the grid has been is being deliberated by them, and it will be finalized in 2-3 days. So once we have that ready, so I would be more than happy to engage with each one of you to see where you would like to have your scientific session intertwined into that grid. So that is something we can work on. Okay, so I think that's about the crux of our conference. So the jewel of our conference, I have to re-emphasize, would be we will be putting enormous effort and energy into manifesting a good scientific content, a good quality scientific content, where every delegate who comes will go back with some learnings and with some lessons and with something which he can adopt in his day-to-day practice, and we would be terribly serious about that. And coming to the venue, so this is the Clark's Exotica. So many of you present here would know that Bangalore people would shred and dread if they know that the center is somewhere in the city, because the traffic chaos can be quite problematic. So keeping in mind of all our other friends who come from other areas, this place is around 2 to 3 kilometers from the airport, and they would avoid all the frenzy of the Bangalore traffic. And it would be very peaceful once you go in there. You wouldn't have any chaotic sort of a situation with regards to be it parking or be it any other crowd disturbance. So this is, and many major conferences have happened here. So I'm sure many of you are aware, National Oncology Conference and Dermatology Conference, and many conferences have happened here, and it can accommodate a huge crowd. So this is Ocean Hall. I don't know if any of you had come when we did a visit to this place along with our trade friends in 2020, because that's when we intended to do it in a physical format. This is a mammoth hall. It's a very huge hall, and it can easily accommodate, I think, 3,000 to 4,000 people. So the way we have thought about this conference this time, again, to keeping the spirit of effective collaboration with our trade friends. So this is a very huge hall. If any of you are free, you can visit this place. So we would divide this hall into two. So there will be the scientific content which would be happening, and there will be the premium trade friends who will have their stalls within that place where the deliberation of scientific content. So very often, I'm sure many of you miss out on actual scientific deliberation that is happening. And faculty and the delegates also very often sort of they go out to the trade area having to miss the deliberations or scientific deliberations that are happening. So that is something which we will be avoiding here. So there, the premium trade people would be present in the one half of this huge hall, which means they will be engaging and they could witness the intense scientific deliberations that would be happening. So if you see this layout, as you see, this would be the stage, and this is the seating, which would easily accommodate 2,000 people. So for me, the very optimistic number to really spin it off into a great success is 1,000 is a very good number for us to look at in a post-COVID, because pre-COVID, we were very comfortable saying that 1,000 is easy number to attain, but nowadays the whole challenge is to get a good crowd. So 1,000 is a very optimistic number. So we would look at, and see, this will be the trade area, the premium trade area, who will be within the hall, witnessing the whole scientific deliberation. We can work on this. If you have to accommodate more people also, I'm sure you can get in touch with our event organizers. So as you see, the other stalls will be within the dining area. The reason is, I'm sure, I don't know, many of my good friends are here who have been part of our national conference. So that was immensely appreciated for the fact that every delegate who comes had to visit a trade area because the whole they have to pass through the scientific deliberation to attend the dining area. So even here, if you see, so they wouldn't really miss out on footfall in their trade area because it is proximate and many people have to come to the dining area and they would have to visit this trade area. So we can look at this arrangement in any way where maximum footfall happens at the trade area. But for all the key people present here, it would be ideal that if you are present within this hall, because you are constantly engaging with them. And suppose if there is a deliberation on certain equipment that is happening, and if a delegate wishes to walk by and try to see through what that new equipment or new gadget is or new molecule is, he can just walk to the trade area and he can engage himself or herself with the trade people who are present here. So that is the sort of a thought that has gone behind putting up this layout. So that's about my presentation. So I would just end with this beautiful quote. So we're all one drop individual, but together we can spin it off into a great event and a great celebration. So thank you one and all. I'll just stop my recording.